Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the December 2025 meeting of the Madison Historic District Board of Review. For this meeting, Ryan Rogers will be recusing himself from participating in the board. Could we have a roll call vote, please, Brenna?
Bill Jewell.
Present.
Happy Smith. Chris Cody.
Present.
Ken McWilliams.
Present.
Ryan Rogers. Jared Anderson.
Present.
Jed Skillman.
Present.
Has everyone had a chance to review the minutes of last month's meeting? Changes, anything? A motion to approve? Second?
Second that.
Yeah, Jared is seconded.
Vote, please.
Bill Jewell.
Approve.
Happy Smith. Chris Cody.
Approve.
Ken McWilliams.
Approve.
Jared Anderson.
Approve.
Jed Skillman.
Approve.
Excellent. All right, we'll conduct the meeting tonight by having either the owner or the owner's rep or both of you come up to the microphone, adjust to the podium, adjust the microphone so we can hear you, and tell us your name and where you live. Brenna will then review the project that's been given to the city for consideration. You, as the owner or rep, will have a chance to respond to that. Board members will then have a chance to ask questions or clarify things. At that point, we will ask if there's any kind of public comment, and if I don't ask for that, please raise your hand. I'll ask if there's any correspondence that needs to be read into the record. At that point, we will have what is called finding of fact, where one of the board members will describe whether we do or do not feel the project fits in. At that point, we'll vote on the project, and it will either be approved or denied. All right, so let's get going. The first two that we have at 123 Jefferson and 421 Mill Street will not be treated tonight. We are putting them off. We need a vote on those, though.
Mr. Chair, I move we table the project of 123 Jefferson and 421 Mill.
I second.
Okay, could we have a vote?
Bill Jewell.
I approve.
Happy Smith. Chris Cody.
Approve.
Ken McWilliams.
Approve.
Jared Anderson.
Approve.
Jed Skillman.
Approve.
All right, let's have our first one here. This appears to be 1229 West Main Street. No? Not here? Do I hear a motion to table this one?
We'll just move them to the back.
All right, we'll just move them to the back and wait, see what happens here.
And just technically, you don't have to do another motion to table. It's already on the table, so it can just remain there.
Oh, okay.
Unless you take it off.
Sounds good. All right, looks like then the next one should be 1225 West Main Street. Robert?
Yes, that's fine.
Yeah. Hello.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you for coming.
Thanks so much. Thanks for having me. We want
Brenna, normally Brenna will say what the project is, and then you'll have a chance to respond.
Okay.
1 second. Okay. 1225 West Main Street. This is a contributing structure built in 1890. It is a colonial revival, zoned residential medium density R8, and their request is to enclose the side porch and to add an additional room to the back of the house.
Okay, would you like to expand?
Yeah, that picture you just saw, you can't actually see the side porch. It's on the east side of the house, so you can't see it from the street. But these are the drawings. That's the porch. We'd like to enclose that in order to make it usable space 4 seasons of the year instead of 1.5. And then we want to add, I think we said 10 extra feet to the back of the house. Yeah, and make that an enclosed room as well. My daughter needs a well-lit, quiet place to read her books.
Mm-hmm.
Dad, we understood exactly what you just meant, so that's fine.
Anyone else have questions? Clarifications? Anyone else?
Well, I'll just say, when I went by, you couldn't tell where you're going to put this, so it's invisible from the street.
Yeah.
So there's not much to say about it, it looks fine.
When you
Yeah.
enclose the porch, are you going to inset the enclosure into the porch, or is it going to follow the line of the house completely?
It's going to follow the, well, you see on this picture here?
Could you,
Yeah. No, excuse us.
if you could do that one over there?
Use that one.
I can't see that one.
This sticks out farther. This will be closed in, will be right, in right there, and then come out 10 more feet and around.
Okay,
That makes sense.
okay,
If not,
all right.
explain it better.
No, you did
No,
good.
that's fine.
So we won't change the width at all of the back. We'll
Mhm.
just extend it 10 more feet. So
Mhm.
it'll remain invisible.
Siding, roofing?
Siding will remain vinyl that's already on the house.
Okay. Anyone else have any comments? Does anyone from the general public like to speak to this application? Anyone? I don't think we've had anything forwarded for reading into the record, so could we have a finding of fact?
Mr. Chairman, I find that this project complies with the guidelines, and I make a motion for approval.
Do I hear a second?
Second.
Chris, was that a motion to approve the project? Then make it in the form of a motion, please.
Based on the preceding findings of fact, I move that Madison HDBR approve the project located at
122.
1225 West Main Street.
Thank you. I second.
Do we have a vote?
Bill Jewell,
I approve.
Happy Smith,
Approve.
Chris Cody,
Approve.
Ken McWilliams,
Approve.
Jared Anderson,
Approve.
Judd Skillman.
Approve.
You've passed. You can pick up your information from the city and start your project when all building permits are in place.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming.
Thanks for having us.
Let's see, who's next here? East, 1008 East Street. Mr. Martin?
I'm Robert Wirtz,
Oh, I'm sorry, excuse me.
1008 East Street.
Good,
Correct.
thank you. Brenna, go
Okay.
ahead.
So this is actually the empty lot behind 1008, which is 1000 plus East Street. They are in the process of being combined, or we're looking into that. It is zoned residential medium density R8, and the request is to build a new log shed.
Ask if anybody, if the new board has anything, and we'll go straight to motion.
Anything from you, sir?
I'd just like to put that log shed up on an empty hillside,
Mm-hmm.
just so I can go in there and drink coffee and cut some wood, you know. You can see that it's a distance away from any other building, and maybe you can see the roof from the street, but it's pretty far back there. It's up the hill.
Are you going to build the one that in the picture?
Yes, uh-huh.
I think that's a really nice addition to what you're doing here. That is an extremely important, architecture-wise, kind of a cabin around here. You don't see them that much in town, but this was the predominant building in the out from us. Hardwood logs squared off, so.
I have seen one in town, and somebody told me they bought one about 3 doors down some years back, so like you say, it's historic.
Anybody feel like we have an issue with this?
I was just going to add, in support of what Bill just said, there's one behind 3rd Street, a beautiful stone log cabin that is just a gorgeous thing in downtown Madison. I think this is a great idea.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'll add that I think that this is going to be a wonderful addition. I'd request, though, if possible, just putting some kind of a date stone on there so people don't think accidentally that it's a historic building. We all know it's new. Just something with the date of construction at some
Current
point.
date, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
because I think this is going to be great, and folks might mistake it for something that's been there forever.
I understand, all right.
Do you know the date of the framework that you're putting up?
I do not. It's old, I know that. It came from the middle of Kentucky.
Oh.
But that's about all I know.
Okay.
All right.
You might put that on your plaque if you put something. You could put the information there.
Okay, I will.
All right. We in pretty good shape on this one?
Yep.
Any problems? Do we have anyone from the general public that would like to speak to it? No? Correspondence? None?
Mr. Chair, I'll make the motion.
Go ahead,
So that
please.
findings of fact, everyone's approved that, and so based upon the preceding findings of fact, I move that the Madison Historic District Board of Review grant a certificate of appropriateness to the project at 1000 East Street, 8 East Street.
Do we have a second?
I second that.
Vote?
Bill Jewell,
I approve.
Happy Smith, Chris Cody,
Approve.
Ken McWilliams,
Approve.
Jared Anderson,
Approve.
Jed Skillman.
Approve.
All right, you can pick your paperwork up in the city and start when you have your building permits.
Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you for coming. Next one, Steve and Jane Martin. 319 Craig Street.
Yeah, my name is Steve Martin. It's my wife Jane.
Hello, thank you for coming. Brenna, go ahead.
So 319 Craigmont, this is a contributing structure built in 1890. It is an Italianate style home. It is zoned historic district residential, and their request is to restore the window on the front to the original size, restore the original transom over the front door, change the window size on the south side of the house to transom style windows for privacy and light.
Would you like to elaborate? Tell us a little more.
Well, there's a lot going on with this project.
We can tell.
We could be here all night.
Well, we don't need to be quite that long.
But anyway, we want to go ahead and get these windows ordered as soon as we can. So, but there's a lot of work to do before we can get those windows installed.
Right. Looks to me like you've done a whole lot of prep on this. I was impressed.
Yeah, we have a lot of
The building obviously needs it. I don't think there's any doubt. Anybody else have anything?
Thank you so much for rescuing this building, for
Yes.
investing in it and taking care of it.
Exactly. Well, do we have any comments from the public on this one? Correspondence? None? Let's have finding of fact.
Maybe their staff approval, hardy board siding, standing seam roof.
Yes.
New
Everything else that's on the packet that was not presented has been marked for staff.
new fiberglass door, awning over front door, and then there's a north side addition that's now going to get a deck instead of the addition?
It's not going to be a deck.
Or maybe I'm
It's just
misunderstanding.
extended concrete and the roof will cover.
Okay, and all that was staff approved?
Yes.
Okay.
Are we in agreement on this one? This one's fine. How about, Jed, could you do
Oh, I'll just say one thing, I'm sorry, Bill. So the south side slit windows, you know, those narrow little windows?
Yes.
Those wouldn't really be, according to the guidelines. The guidelines want you to keep the openings of your building what they were historically. But I drove around town trying to find a good example of what I could show you that would be the historic version, and most of the time, that south side of these buildings is no windows. Maybe there was a building right next to it or something, so there really maybe were no windows there. So I think we can either make an exception, or we can say, you know, what you're doing here really is fine. And it's a wonderful project, so thank you.
I'll add one other quick question. So I know you're going to go back with hardy board siding. What's the condition of the current wood siding? Is it salvageable at all?
It would be, if there's any salvageable, it would be very, very little. On the side that she was speaking of, at one time, there was a door that came up that side. So until we get the contractor in to start tearing stuff up, we really don't know, what kind of mess that we're going to have. But,
Sure. Well, no problem with the replacement. If you find that you have enough of it to save, sometimes it's less expensive just to have siding milled in the same profile, which is pretty easy to get done. And if you can save enough of it so you don't have to buy all new siding. But, it sounds like the condition might not be there.
Right. Well, we'd like, obviously, for it all to match. So, if there was any salvageable, it would probably, well, I don't know if you've ever tried to take that off before, but it's kind of like when it's been aged for a long, long time, it's almost impossible to take it off without splitting or something.
No, actually, sir, my daughter refurbished that siding on her house at 312 Poplar Street, and for 10% of the cost of replacing it, they were able to repair. And you can get that same dimension boarding any lumber yard. So like Chris says, just take a look again at how damaged that is. But your team could easily, repair and save you a lot of money.
All right. Anybody else? We in agreement? Do we hear a motion to accept them?
Well, I find that the project meets the guidelines, and based on that preceding finding of fact, I move that we approve the application located at 319 Craigmont Street.
Do we hear a second?
Aye, you got a second.
Can we have a vote, please?
Bill Jewell,
I approve.
Happy Smith,
Approve.
Chris Cody,
Approve.
Ken McWilliams,
Approve.
Jared Anderson,
Approve.
Jed Skillman.
Approve.
Thank you for taking this on.
Absolutely.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Work up. When you have your building permits, you may start.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, next one should be 307 Walnut Street. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. My name's Jason Pattison. I live on Vine Street, downtown Madison, and this is one of my projects.
Okay, Brenna, go ahead.
So 307 Walnut Street, this is a contributing structure. It's a duplex. This is a Federal and Italianate style structure built in 1840. It is zoned Historic District Residential, and the requests are to add a dormer to the roof, to demolish the rear addition to replace it with a wooden deck, to replace rear windows with doors out onto that deck, and then to replace the windows with aluminum clad windows.
Go ahead, please.
Yes, that's what we would like the building to look like when we are done with it. We will be refinishing the trim around the roof. We'll be repairing the roof. Once we can get the roof repaired, depending on how you decide, we'll then begin restoring the inside significantly. It's a disaster. The roof is kind of the most important thing at this point. What we would like to do is there are 2 floors and there's an attic space. The attic space has the slanted roof. If we can do the dormers, it will increase the room in the attic space probably by 50%, depending on how many, 75% if you let us do both of the dormers. Given kind of 3 options, there are, can you get a roof shot? Yes. The chimneys, so on the west end of the building, there is not a chimney at the back. We'd like to do a dormer from the west end of the building to the first chimney, and then we'd like to do a dormer in between the 2 chimneys, the central one and the one on the east end. So kind of the choices are leave it as is, restore the roof in its template as it is, or add a dormer on the back, or add 2 dormers as I've described. I think that's kind of the biggest thing because I realize that's a change to the outside. I don't think if you did the back dormer that it would change too much from the street. If you're looking at it from the front of the building, unfortunately the building can be seen from pretty much 3 sides. And so that's a little bit different. The exterior of the building really does not have a lot of problems. It's brick. It needs a little bit of touch up from the tuck pointing perspective. Next kind of major thing is the windows. There are at least 2 windows missing. I believe that trying to replace the windows or restore the windows, take the windows out that are there and restoring them, I think my guy said I could probably cobble 1 together out of 5 if I tried, and I'm not sure that they would withstand the sanding. As you may have noticed, the roof had about a 5 to 6 foot hole in it for a very long time, and it is saturated inside, which is why we need to get it under roof to get it dried out. I think all of the windows are soaked, and I just don't believe that any of them can be replaced. I know that we've had an inspection by the building inspector and Ms. Brenna, and they can speak to that. With regard to the deck, there is a wooden rear structure that needs to be demolished. It is not, in my opinion, original. I let the building inspector opine as to when he thinks it was built. What we'd like to do is replace that wooden structure on the rear with a deck. The deck has two purposes. Number one is there is actually a very good view across you can actually, on the third floor, would actually get a slight river view from there. It's kind of a cool view if you like watching streetscape and watching people come and go from the gas station, which I kind of like, but that's me. The rest of it is safety. If in fact you wanted to get out of that building and you were on the third floor, you might have to traverse the building 4 or 5 times to get down the stairs. The stairs start at the beginning, they go up, you go back, you go up again, and so what we'd like to include in the deck is pegs, something that we can hide in there that someone could climb down for safety purposes in case of a fire is another reason for it. And the rear structure does need to be demolished. It's, in my opinion, unsalvageable. So, I think that's pretty much it.
Board members?
Similar to the last applicant, thank you so much for your investment in this building and for taking this on. This is a great building, and it's phenomenal what you're planning to do here. I did, however, have a question about the dormers.
Sure.
Have you had any kind of structural engineering report done or any kind of analysis or maybe plans for interior bracing to handle that extra weight?
Not yet, but we will. We want to know whether we can do it or not before we start spending money on it.
Well, that's a little bit of a chicken or the egg for us, because I don't know if we are going to. Well, I personally wouldn't feel comfortable voting for something that might cause the building to collapse. I think the structural engineering report and that certainty is, going to be a big issue for me and how I vote.
I'm not an engineer, but the thing is 3-ply brick, and then if you go inside of it, all of the wood joists are about this far apart instead of this far apart. It's built like, forgive my French, a brick shit house. I don't believe it's going to be that much. It's a little bit, I don't see how it increases there are 7 layers of shingles on that roof. I don't see how this increases the weight at all, and it might actually decrease the weight on the structure. Next plan is to talk to a couple of contractors and see what they say. Happy to bring a report back if you guys are in the mood to approve something like that.
Thank you.
Sure.
Anybody else?
So, I guess in the staff comments on this application, it says that it would add strain to the roof that's not currently able to be supported. Brian, have you taken a look at that? Like, do we know that for a fact, or is that just what we think?
There we go. Yeah, I inspected it, and it could definitely withstand dormers.
Okay.
Yeah. It's big, strong native timbers in there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which still exist until they rot away in the water.
Mr. Chair, I have no sympathy for a dormer addition.
How do others feel?
I'm feeling the same way on the dormers. You got a duplex here, so now you're going to have a real uneven situation between the two halves of your building, and you're really altering the profile of your historic building. So I also am really struggling with the dormers, but the rest of your project is wonderful.
Now, for the dormers, again, there are 2 options. One is just the rear dormer, and the other one is both dormers. I'd be satisfied certainly with just the rear dormer because it goes from almost half the building and is much less visible from the front on Walnut Street.
Brenda, can you put the drawing of the dormer elevation up? I'm very glad to hear that the structural concerns that I had are not an issue, but I tend to agree with Happy and with Ken. It's tough, especially because this is a duplex with a symmetrical roof form. It would look really imbalanced for one side of this duplex to have those dormers blown out, and I don't think that there's any contextual examples of this that I can think of downtown.
What kind of windows are you going to put in there?
Wood with metal clad,
Okay.
similar to what the Cinnamon Tea Room has as the plan.
Would you consider wood windows, period?
If I can find them.
You can.
Okay.
There's several places around here that are using wood windows.
Yeah, I thought I had a guy who could make them, but I'm not sure that he does that. So I still have to source the windows.
Do you own both sides of the duplex?
Not yet.
Okay,
No, I do not.
okay.
The other side has vinyl windows. Don't know when they were put in or
Yeah.
how they were put in, but I know that it has them. And it's empty, or, well, I think there's one person living there. There was somebody working on it recently, and the downstairs was empty.
How many units do you plan in here?
3 if I can do the attic.
Okay.
The attic, if you get to the attic has a space about this wide. It's this high.
Yeah.
But it runs the whole length of the building, which is one of the reasons I'm interested in the dormers. If I could put the rear one on, the bathrooms and the kitchens will be at the rear of the building, which is in the 3rd floor, would add the space to be able to put a decent bathroom and a decent kitchen up there. Be tough, because everything will be run right along that wall.
Yeah.
I lived in an apartment like this in Indianapolis. The wall, it comes down to about right here, and then maybe from here, it's only about this wide all the way there, but here, it's only about this high. And then it
Yep.
angles up. So it's long. It's long and narrow.
How do others feel about the dormers? Jared, what do you think?
And I'm kind of with you on the front dormer. I could dispense with that. The back one is where I really kind of think that it adds a lot of space. There's a fantastic view from up there that I did not submit. My guy who put the cover over the roof took a picture from up there. You can actually got a river view from up there. And it would add just a lot of, it's a southern exposure. It would add a lot of light for that particular narrow, small, confined space if it was a living space.
I think I could compromise with one dormer in the rear to where we're not, it's not affecting the roof lines
Nope,
from the
I'd be
front.
thrilled with that.
How would
I'd be
others
thrilled with
feel
the
about
rear-
that?
The rear one. And don't get me wrong, the windows are not exactly, I intend for those to match as much as I can the rest of the building. At the same time, I'd like them to let in a lot of light.
I think that that's a reasonable solution, especially given how much you're doing to help this building. And overall, the project is just going to be such a great thing for the town that, finding one dormer on the rear elevation, I think is reasonable.
I've seen some dormers on some houses. I would agree with you that most of them are not visible from the front of the house. Those houses also don't have quite the openness and ability to see from 3 sides that this one has.
You may help your case with the rear dormer by, see this, as you have it drawn here, it's really kind of a plain Jane box sticking out.
Totally agree. I tried to get somebody to draw something really nice, and I just didn't get that. I wasn't able to get that done.
Little elements of trim that say Madison,
Right.
Italianate.
Oh, absolutely. It's not,
features,
yeah,
stuff
it's
like
not gonna, I have lived here for 28 years. I live downtown. I've done this for over 20 years. I intend for it to look nice when it's done. I intend to have 3, I think somebody asked me earlier, 3 residential units. They will be long-term rentals.
If you would, can you go to that TV and show me where the rear dormer would start versus the Walnut Street side?
I drew it in here to here.
What's the length there?
Couldn't tell you off the top of my head. Sorry.
It's a lot.
Building inspector might have a better handle on that.
I'd probably say around 25, 30 feet.
Yeah, at least.
And so what that will do is probably add 50% or a little bit more to the space up there, living space.
Another angle to look at it would be one ground floor unit, and the second floor is a stairway up there, and you have additional living space, like you put the living room up there. You follow me?
Oh, sure, I do.
That's a much larger apartment.
Actually, before I got inside of it, my brother-in-law owned the building. I bought it from him. Before I owned it, I thought it was a little bit more open and on the second floor, and I thought it would look cool as a loft for the second floor, but
I don't mean just a
it's
loft.
too,
Stairway up there.
yeah, it's too
That's
kind of
what-
narrow to do that.
So, Brian, Have you reviewed the inside plans for egress from this third floor? Does it meet fire code?
If the decks are on the back, it will. He can make that work. If he has the decks on the back, yes.
All three floors are going to have decks?
No, but we can make a ladder or something to get down to the second story
Okay.
deck to get down.
This deck, yes, it would be a three-floor deck. It would be on the second and third floors.
Okay.
And it would be a cover on the first floor. And then there was a picture of some doors, if you don't mind moving to those real fast. So what we'd like to do on the second and third floor is the door on the right, which is a rear door on my house on Vine Street. And then what we did like to do on the first floor is on the side, and the rear door is the door on the left.
And that would lead out to the deck, right?
On the back, and then there is actually a side door that's very hard to see on the first floor. It's not really visible. It is not visible from the road or anywhere on any of the three sides. And then on the back would be where the addition is. There's not a door there. The front door will be restored to the best of our ability.
Anybody from the general public like to comment? Written communication? None? What are you thinking? Chris, you think you positive?
This is a really tough one because, again, I really appreciate the investment in this property, and I do think that that third floor would be a very fine unit with good views, and I appreciate the three-story decks for the fire egress. But it's tough because of the duplex and the existing symmetry of the roof lines, and to disrupt that and off-balance the overall composition is, I like to say that if you're doing a really good project, which you are, that guidelines can, be bent. They're guidelines, they're not hard and fast, but it's that dormer is, this is a tough one.
Can we split the motion into the dormer part and then the rest part? So we have two motions, a motion to approve everything else and then a motion to approve the dormer? Can we do that?
Yeah. Would you like to do that? Go that direction?
Does it help me?
Pardon?
It probably gets you an approval right away for most of your project, and then, it may
But
get you an approval for all of it.
And I'm not trying to
Yeah.
dispute or cause any problems. At the same time, the roof is what needs to be done now, so I can move the project forward. I can't really do anything until I dry the thing in. I kid you not, it has a hole in the roof that is this big. And has been open for, I think, close to a year at least. So it is very important to get it dried and let it start drying out.
It's truly a wonderful product, and it's a wonderful design. We up here, though, have to always be balancing, keeping the historic district historic, and then incursions or incremental changes just add up, and everything has repercussions. You do a dormer here today, there'll be 50 more dormers next year.
Understand?
So that's what we have to balance, and it is a tough thing to
Didn't come in
balance.
here and ask you to let me put vinyl windows like in the other side.
Thank you, thank you,
You're
thank you.
welcome.
Well, would you like to split it?
That is up to you. It really is.
I mean,
I don't really have an objection to it. My issue is, I think the roof is very important to get started.
I think I'm hearing consensus from the rest of the board that we all really, really like this project, and it's just the issue of the dormer that is giving us pause, and so I think that, the vote will probably fall along those lines based on the dormer.
And so, yeah, let's split it up so I can at least understand the rest of my project.
Okay. All right. Happy, would you like to?
I move that, based upon the previous discussion, that the Madison Historic Board of Review approve the work at 307 Walnut, the work that is everything except the dormer. So that would be the windows, the front door, the porches on, the decks on the back, the reworking.
Demolition.
Sorry?
The demolition.
The demolition of the shed on the back, the alteration of the windows on the first and second floor to accommodate fire egress, so that there now won't be windows, but there'll now be doors. Have I covered everything?
Are we specifying wood windows?
The owner has already said that he's going to do the Quaker aluminum-clad wood windows, which are a very wonderful product, thank you.
And I'm going to explore both.
And is there anything else that I'm missing? Okay,
do we hear
so
a
all of
second?
those things were
I
the
second
motion.
that.
All right, could we have a vote on that, Brenna?
Bill Jewell,
I approve.
Happy Smith,
Approve.
Chris Cody,
Approve.
Ken McWilliams.
Approve.
Jared Anderson,
Approve.
Jed Skillman.
Approve.
Now, dormers.
Yeah, I think, it seemed like to me the question was, or at least where the board was landing, is nobody wanted two, but there was a possibility of one in the rear, so I
Could we
guess.
have a picture up of what the roof looks like looking down, so we can see kind of where we're talking about?
So the rear dormer would be from the chimney to the rear of the building.
Okay.
Not involved.
Yeah, would come over almost to that back chimney, right?
Right, almost. But I think it's far enough down that trying to go around it or do anything else with it would just get in the way of the chimney, and I'm not, unless you tell me I can remove it, I'm not going to mess with it.
Yeah. Huh.
Although it is at the back of the building, it would be blocked by the dormer.
I think
I'm
I
trying to-
might be in the minority here, but knowing now that it is structurally able to occur, I would be fine with approving this. The back half,
Yes.
not the full.
Sure.
Is that a motion?
No, we're just discussing.
Yeah,
it.
We're still talking.
Yeah, it's not ideal, but this is the difference between having another unit of housing in downtown Madison, and we need housing, and it increases the long-term viability of this building and its marketability. And this gentleman is expending significant money to save the rest of the building. I can definitely see this, being something we can let him have.
I agree with you.
Okay, so could we, excuse me, could we hear a motion to accept the single dormer?
I'm trying to think of where you could see it.
So based on the previous discussion, the phrase "happy" just invented, so I move that the Historic District Board of Review grant a certificate of approval to, I missed your name at the beginning, sorry,
Jason Pattison.
to Jason Pat's project at 307 Walnut Street for a half dormer at the rear of the building at 307 Walnut, in effect creating a third floor.
Do we hear a second?
I second that.
How about a vote, please?
Bill Jewell,
I approve.
Happy Smith,
Do not approve.
Chris Cody,
Approve.
Ken McWilliams.
Approve.
Jared Anderson,
Approve.
Jed Skillman.
I do not approve.
You passed.
Thank you.
You
Thank
may
you all
pick
for
your
your attention.
paperwork
Appreciate
up
your time.
and start when you have your permits.
It looks like.
Yep.
if it went just
Thank you
right
for
up
coming.
the wall, you'd be able to see it.
Next one, 609 West 2nd Street.
I didn't, I was gonna vote for that out, no.
That happened quick. I was expecting to sit here longer.
Hello, Ryan.
Ryan Rogers, 804 East First Street. Had to think for a minute, got too many addresses. This is Julie Timon.
I'm Julie Tiemann.
Hello, Julie.
609 West Second is where I'm going to reside as soon as I get my project.
Thank you for coming. Brenna, go
A
ahead.
little interesting information. We lived probably within 10 miles of each other for the last 10 years when I lived in DC. So.
All right, Brenna, go ahead.
So 609 West 2nd Street, this is a contributing structure. It is an Italianate style built in 1870. It is zoned Historic District Residential, and their request is to add a 10 by 18 foot addition and an 8-foot porch across the rear.
All right, go ahead.
So the intent with this project, and I'll let Julie talk as well, is she intends to fully restore the front of the house, including the windows and the doors. Inside, she's restoring all the plaster and so forth. That's the wrong project.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it.
Yeah. Back a
Julie,
little
that's
bit
such a
more.
great drawing of your project.
There we go. There we go.
Sorry about that.
So this house has had 3 different additions added to it over the years. There's actually a stone addition, and then there's a cinder block foundation addition, and then there was a porch that was enclosed at some point as well. So we picked the third addition to do the addition to. We're going to bump it out on the side 10 feet, and the reason is we needed space for a laundry room and a bathroom, but to try to keep the rest of the house open for the backyard. The intention is to take one of the windows out of the side of the house and put it in the addition so that it'll look like it's been there for a while. Currently, it has aluminum siding on it. It will go back with either James Hardy or go back with...
Hardy board.
It is Hardy?
That's what
It'll go back with Hardy.
I think.
And then a beautiful front porch across the back so she can enjoy her yard. Did you want to add anything?
No, just that the old part of the house, the original house, is just lovely. It's in really good shape, and I'm excited to restore it. And then the back part, it needs a lot of TLC. And I think some of the additions were maybe not high quality. So I want to get it back to something that is going to last a long time.
Okay. Anything else? Board members?
Yeah. Brenda, could you show the depth of the lot, please? There's a slide with that. Because, Julie, we have in the guidelines that we don't want additions bumped out from the home. We want everything behind the home. Are you open to moving your laundry room to the back and then putting your deck and porch on?
So just making it all longer.
Longer, yes.
I hadn't thought of that. I did not know that. Ryan?
The reason we designed it the way we did is because of the way the house is laid out. You have the parlor in the front, the parlor in the back, then the kitchen, and then the family room. So if you add the bathroom and the laundry room to the back of the house, it completely blocks her rear view. This is setting completely behind the original house and setting completely behind the stone addition that was put on the house. So we felt like it was far enough back that bumping it out to 10 feet would be acceptable. And it preserves her view.
It looks great to me. I'm impressed. We looked at that house, you bought it recently, and it's a neat little house. You got you hit the jackpot there. And this kind of an addition looks very appropriate, Is there a second bathroom on this upper floor?
Yeah, right now there is. We're going to move the location of that so it's more convenient.
Oh, you're doing a lot of work in there.
Yeah, that's the only thing that we're doing different on the inside of the old structure.
Okay.
Part of the house.
All right. Yeah, looks great.
Anybody else?
Is there a picture just showing the heights of everything? I think there is one here, but I just want to make sure I'm looking at the right place. All right, so that's the front. Okay.
That's the front. That's the front.
And so the addition is well lower than the front part of the house. It's not higher.
Correct. It's
Okay. Okay, great, thank you.
Anybody else? Other thoughts?
I'll just share the thought that I also was concerned about the bump out outside of the plane, but I do think because it's only one story and it's so far set back from the street, the historic house will still read very clearly as the historic house. And I understand too, wanting to have a backyard, not perfectly ideal, the bump out, but I understand why they've gone that direction.
Anybody from the general public?
There's a
like to
garage
speak?
back there, isn't there?
There is a garage at the very end of the property.
Yeah, I kind of remember that.
Yes, that's correct.
General public. Please come up, sir.
Good evening, members. I'm Scott Bullard. My wife Margie is here as well. We live essentially across the street, 608 West 2nd. And the concern we had with this proposal was what's been mentioned here. The fact that, I think additions are supposed to be, they're not supposed to extend. They shouldn't go back. And that's clearly not what's happening here. We've got it's probably half again as wide as the existing structure. the addition and back. So that's our concern, that you're kind of changing the, I guess you'd say, the portrait, the facade of the building is
Right.
considerably different now than what it was, or what it is now. The whole is much different. So
And currently, there are also side steps to his door on the original house. The original stone house. Brick, I mean.
but I guess that's our concern,
Okay,
changing that profile,
all righty.
which I guess,
When you
The
look out
guidelines
your
are
front
kinda-
window, do you see this house? I mean, that's right out the front?
yes, it is.
And we have a two-story house as well.
Okay.
And I guess,
And we're long and skinny. We have a side porch.
Okay.
and I guess I don't know the particular measurements, but it almost seems like the square footage there that's being proposed could be spun 90 degrees, and then you wouldn't have the extension out beyond the original footprint or portrait.
And we would not be opposed to something going out the back and having the same view from the front.
Great. Thank you very much for coming. Is there anyone else that would like to speak? No correspondence to the city?
Just to clarify, the porch on the side of the house does remain, the door remains. Everything that's from the stone addition structure throughout the two-story section of it will remain the same, other than the siding.
And Ryan, so I got it straight, the new part there, that's can we have the side view again, please? Yep. Okay, oh, yep, there you go. So the addition there, that's beyond the original structure of the house, right? And you
Yes,
say there were 3 additions on there, is it beyond the second addition?
it is.
Okay, so you got your original house, first addition, and that's all up here. Because we had a discussion last time about a garage, and they wanted it back a third of the way, and it wasn't a third of the way. I mean, it was way up there.
Yeah, it's probably close to 50 feet back,
Okay,
altogether. I wish I would have taken that measurement.
Well, the existing structure is 69, so you can do it.
Okay. Well, actually,
So it'd be 50.
okay.
okay.
I have a question. I have a question for the neighbors. If there was landscaping here or trees or something that kind of moderated the view of this addition, would that help?
I think it would help, and you couldn't see it. There were trees there before. They've been kind of cleared out.
So if you guys couldn't really see it,
Couldn't see it.
if you couldn't see it, you guys would you be okay with it?
I'd be more okay, but I'm also confused as how that, you guys aren't seeing how it's pictured with the existing steps there that would be in front of that new part.
I guess I'm very confused about the steps. I'm not sure what you're saying. That I'm not following, sorry.
I can show you.
Yeah.
The old part of the house where the dining room is, that's where there is a door, a side door to go in. It's like, right, somewhere around in here.
The side elevation.
Oh, here we go. It's right there, and there's steps. There's stone, not stone, it's actually a wood deck right now. And underneath of it, the original stone steps that go up to the door right here.
So what will happen to those now in your new rebuild?
The deck will go away. The deck will go away. Steps will be there, I believe.
I don't remember what was under the deck.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's, original concrete steps are there. I probably wouldn't be using this door that much, but also, out in the air conditioner, it's right out here too, so I need access to it. But the wooden deck that's on the side right now, it's very small, it'll go away, and it's in bad shape.
Would you be amenable to landscaping and other ways to make this more appealing
I had every
in the
intention
neighborhood?
to add trees, and some sort of cottage garden-like design to the front and side. I got rid of all of the old trees and some, they were messy, and actually several were leaning over, and it was a hazard to potentially fall on the house roof of the garage.
Thank you.
think I see one of the neighbors has her hand raised, please.
I'm a little confused over if it's possible to put it behind, which I think an architect could figure out why we're not following what our guidelines are. But that's up to you guys.
Well, I definitely appreciate that comment, and that is exactly what we're wrestling with right now. Guidelines are guidelines. They're not hard and firm. And I certainly would never support an addition that bumped out on a historic structure. I wouldn't even support one that bumped out on a historic addition to a historic structure. But we're on the third generation of additions here in the far rear. It's over 50 feet setback from the street. Even then, I'm still trying to make up my mind because, as you said, it's not following the guidelines, and this is the tough calls that we have to make when to make exceptions from the guidelines because of the overall, nature of the project, which in this case I understand from a floor plan perspective and from a rear views and natural light perspective why they proposed this. So it's a very tough call.
Can I also-
Julie, would you be willing to put a very mature tree in front of the addition? We're not talking a $50, Lowe's, we're $300-400 tree.
Yeah, I would want something that's more established. I don't know exactly what kind of a tree yet either. I mean, I've talked to a couple of tree folks to help me figure out what would make the most sense for the yard. I'm keeping the catalpa tree, of course, because it's huge and it's old.
I just wanted to mention, if you look at the lot layout, there's 30 feet from that porch back, but there's also a garage sitting back there that I did not put on that plan, so it makes it a very tight situation. If we added that 10 feet, you would almost walk into the garage when you stepped off the porch.
Do others feel that we have a positive kind of a solution here with the addition and shielding it with trees?
I think it's a terrific addition to the house. I mean, if I lived there, I would want to do that. Because you solve a whole bunch of problems by just doing that little bit there. And it looks like if you trim it right, it looks like it'll be there 1 year, it'll get a little age on it, and all of a sudden it looks like it's been there for 100 years. And if you put a tree in front of it or a shrub or something like that, it just vanishes into the scenery. That's my view of it. I like this, that you have this house. I like this house. I've always liked it. I think it's a great way to go. That's my view. And
Jared, what do you think?
Well, like Chris indicated, I think we're all kind of struggling here a little bit, but it's, again, it's not the original structure. It's an addition on an addition on what? An addition? So it's like, and if you were to do a tree or something like that, I don't see anything wrong with it.
Further, the addition here, I don't see it, it's only 10 feet wide. It's not blocking a view of the river. And we have that in here all the time, where somebody does something and it blocks a view of the river for somebody else, which you really have to consider. This is just basically blocks a view of your garage or what's the historic
Visit
Madison.
behind it,
Visit
yeah.
Madison is just a brick wall back there, if I remember it.
All right, Jared, would you like to do a motion?
Actually, I was just going to jump to finding a fact. Where possible, locate new additions at the rear so they have a minimal impact. I think it's going way back, kind of minimal impact. We try really hard up here to work with homeowners to just try and not let the homeowners do what they want to do. The overall proportion should be compatible with the existing building. I think you're good on this one. The design elements, you're moving the window to make it kind of be compatible. You're trying hard to, make this addition look historic. You are willing to do some landscaping. I think you're trying here. We really do appreciate when people from the community come and tell us what's going on, and so we do appreciate very much you guys coming.
Anybody else? Jared?
Yeah, so I'd say that based on the preceding findings of fact, what was your name? Is it Julie? Julie? I believe that we should approve 609 West 2nd Street on their addition.
Do we hear a second?
Second.
Vote, please.
Bill Jewell,
I approve.
Happy Smith,
Approve.
Chris Cody,
Approve.
Ken McWilliams,
Do not approve.
Jared Anderson,
Approve.
Jed Skillman.
Approve.
Your application's approved. You pick your paperwork up in the city, you can start when you have permits in place. Next one, 815 East First Street.
Ryan Rogers, 804 East First. And this is Mr. and Mrs. Alexander. Moving back to town after being gone for a long time. Wanted to live in Scotts Garden where this is.
Good.
We're
All
looking
right.
at,
Brennan, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Okay, so 815 East First Street, this is a contributing structure built in 1870. It is zoned Historic District Residential, and this request is to add a new garage to the rear of the property in addition to the rear of the house.
Go ahead.
So as you can see from the drawings, there's two different elements that we're adding here. One is an addition to the back of the house and one is a garage. Both of them were a little bit challenging. The addition to the back, you'll notice that it's a flat roof addition with large windows and so forth, kind of more on a contemporary design. But the reason for that is the house has been altered so many times and the roofs just kept getting flatter and flatter that we've actually got to address the roofs on the previous additions to make this work and tie that flat roof all the way back to the original gables on the roof. We did look at doing one large gable to encompass the whole thing, but it ended up being huge. It was going to stand much taller than any of the original gables on the house. And with the way this lot's laid out, it's going to be pretty much completely hidden. You won't see this addition because of the fence and the garage and things of that nature. The garage itself, the intention with that was actually to add some living space above the garage for grandkids and kids and things of that nature. And there was a desire to have some outside cooking available. So what we ended up coming up with is a compromise to try to make it work with the lower profile of the existing house, is we did a story and a half on the garage, spread the roofs out a little bit, gave them a little bit of storage space, or it could be living space upstairs, put a kitchen downstairs in the garage, and then a large deck outside for their outdoor kitchen area. When you're looking at these drawings, they can be a little bit confusing. The bottom left is actually on the alley, and the bottom, or the top right, is on the alley. The garage door on the top left actually faces the backyard, and the reason for that is so they can open it up and actually have it as entertainment space when they're using their outdoor kitchen. Did you folks like to say anything?
I'm glad to be back in Madison. Been 30 years.
Board members, anybody have questions?
Welcome back to Madison. Glad to have you on the east side, and I'll just say thank you for hiring a good draftsman, because it would have been very difficult to understand your property without these good drawings.
So there's also a garage in the front, right? So what will happen now to that garage? Will that stay? So you will have a front house with garage, then you will have a rear building, garage building, but also with some living space in it. Am I understanding right? So that could be a separate dwelling with its own garage? Or it's just, an accessory building, Airbnb, just a small residential space. Is that what is happening here?
I don't believe there's any intention to making this a rental property.
No, I'm not one to do, no.
Okay,
I'm one
okay.
I was trying to, no, I'm one for when my grandkids come.
Ah, okay.
I'm one,
Okay.
my family's always been from Scotts Garden. We used to own the house that was right next to the bridge until the city want to be back here. And I want to be the place where we used to always go there. Anything that happened downtown, we always went to Grandpa's. I want everybody to come to my Grandpa's.
Great, thank you.
Actually, if you'll give me just a second, I'd like to explain. So the stairs go up to this loft area, which I have a bedroom now. But if you look at the configuration of the bathroom and the kitchen, it all ties into this porch area, and the intent is to have an outdoor kitchen area in this area. And you can imagine the house is over here. So this becomes kind of a fun space for all the family, being able to open up this garage door, have a lot of covered space, have the outdoor kitchen, have the yard. It just kind of ties it all together to make it that family home that they're looking for.
And also, we'll keep everybody out of the house.
I understood that already.
So how far, I'm kind of twisted around now. Where is the original, there you go. So you have, is that between the two buildings?
This here is the original house.
Yeah.
This is their living room addition, because as big as this is, there's no big space in it for living space. So we're adding the living space on, we're adding a covered porch, and then this is the garage.
And that's a separate building then, right?
It's a separate building.
What's the distance between the two? 20 feet, it looks like a,
Oh, it's more than 20 feet. Yeah, it's a very deep.
yeah.
So this picture, Ryan, is this the new garage? This is the new build? If I could-
That would be the addition on the back of the house.
Addition on the back of the house. What I'm curious about is the garage then, is that taller than the front house?
It's within a foot, maybe 16 inches. That's why we went to the story and a half design. So actually, when you go upstairs, the outer walls, and I think somebody else just described this, the gentleman that was putting the dormer on, the outer walls are only going to be 6 foot tall, and they'll actually get taller as it goes up into the gable. Because if we did a full second story on it, then it would tower above, the surrounding structures. And if you look coming towards the bridge, this alley actually sits behind the liquor store there, and it's really, really, the alley looks bad. This new property is actually going to help make that approach much nicer.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Okay. Anybody from the general public like to speak? Anybody back there? I'm sorry, I can't see behind. We okay? Correspondence to the city on this one? No? Ken?
So, Mr. Chair, based on our previous discussion, once again, thank you, Happy. Then I move that the Historic District Board of Review grant a certificate of appropriateness to the Alexanders for their project at 815 East First Street.
I second.
Do we have a vote, please?
Bill Jewell,
I approve.
Happy Smith,
Approve.
Kim McWilliams,
Approve.
Judd Skillman,
Approve.
Chris Cody,
Approve.
Jared Anderson,
Approve.
Project has been approved. You can pick up paperwork, start when you have permits in place. Looks like the next one then is the last one, I guess, for the night here at 815 East First. I'm sorry, 215 West First.
I think it's 215 and 217.
Closer.
Oh,
Ryan Rogers, 804 East First.
Brenna, go ahead.
This is currently an empty lot. It is zoned historic district residential, and the request is to build a duplex on the lot.
Ryan, go ahead.
Okay, so this one's a little more personal. This is me and my wife's lot. Back in 2017, we purchased the lot, and at that time there was 9 structures on that block. 5 of them were blighted and abandoned. Over the years, all those have been addressed, but there was 3 of them at the time that were unoccupied as well. So the block was pretty much dead. Let me put my glasses on so I can see. In addition to the lot and the building to the east of it that were blighted at that time, there was a shotgun a little farther down the block that's Caribbean blue now. That shotgun had holes in the side of it, insulation hanging out of it, holes in the roof, but there were people living there. And then to the direct west, right next to it, that house had not had utilities in it since the 1980s. And then directly across the street, there was another building that had been blighted for many, many years as well. So me and my wife actually bought the building that was on this lot and the building next door and tore down this building. And if any of you know the story of it, the chimneys had been let go for so long, the center wall of it had collapsed and the floors were hanging inside of it. And the back wall had actually split from top to bottom. So the back wall was offset as well. From the front, it actually looks like it's fine, but nobody would go in the building. Even the building inspector would look through the door, but he wouldn't go in because it was so dangerous. So when we bought the building on the other side of the alley to turn it into our apartments, or to turn it into our townhouses, we felt like we needed to do something with this one, so we bought it as well and tore it down with the intention that someday would be our permanent residence. Well, many of you probably know that I moved here a little sooner than I expected, so now we live over on Scott's Garden. Got a beautiful home there, but we love this lot. And we've invested a lot over the years to maintain the lot and improve the street. Sorry, I don't often stumble over my words, but this one is
Okay,
personal.
take your time.
So in the design of this, my wife and I have looked at many, many designs over the years, and it does have the benefit of the alley going down the side of it. But in all the designs that I did, in order to follow all the guidelines, the only way to build anything there that is actually useful is I have to turn everything in the backyard into parking. And we've struggled with this for years. We've owned it for 8 years now. And losing that green space is important to us. We don't want to lose the green space. I have had a couple of designs where they were smaller homes, very similar to these on the front, but then a big garage in the back. So again, we lose all of our green space. We block any expansion of the homes later on. It just makes it where it's not a workable situation. This particular design allows us to maintain that green space, give it a little bit of parking in the rear because they're only one-bedroom houses, and makes the lot a lot more useful than it would be if it had a garage sticking out in the backyard. Brennan, can you bring up the before and after picture? Or not before and after, yeah. So if you look at this, this has always been an unusual lot. That house set way back from the rest of them, and then of course you have all the shotguns to the right, and then most of the houses on the left set back from the street. In the new design, with the facade setting back and having a porch on it, it helps make that transition from the shotguns to the other properties seem more natural. And if you could go to the streetscape. Now I've given the board a little better drawings than these that I was able to get done today, but the reason I again went with a 1.5-story design was so that that transition from a tiny shotgun on the right to a massive duplex on the left was so that those roof angles would gradually climb. It's not the most efficient design. I could have made it a 2-story, but it would have made it tower over top of the shotguns to the right. Would you mind going to the new construction? So what I did is I did a little research because I know that everybody has concerns whenever there's a garage door on the front of the house. And what I found is that in the last, since '22, there's been 11 applications for infill lots. And you can see there's been various designs. Of those 11 applications, 9 of them had garage doors that were prominent on the front of the house. Of those 9, 4 of them had the garage door only on the front of the house. The entry door was on the side of the house. One of them had the garage door and the entry door on the same plane. 4 of them also have the garage door sitting in front of the entry door, like you'd see here in the right-hand corner. So it's part of the modern design. And when you look at what the ordinance says and the guideline says, with an infill lot, you should look at it as harmonious with the rest of the neighborhood. If you look around the neighborhood, there's actually several designs that are very similar to this. These two I consider them iconic. I know when the one on the right was built, that there was a lot of concern about it, and when you drive by it now, it's beautiful. You drive down Vaughn Drive, it catches your eye. It's a fixture on that block, and it's within a football field of my house or my property. The one on the left was recently approved, and very similar. You have a smaller structure, a little taller structure with a garage door underneath of it, and it looks completely appropriate, and I've always thought that was a beautiful house. The interesting thing about all these that I've mentioned, when I went through, I also looked at the votes on it. Every one of them had been approved unanimously. There was no dissenting of votes on any of these properties. These two properties are kind of important to me because they're right on my lot. The first one is in the alley in the back. You can tell by the drawings, we don't really know exactly what's going to be built, but we know it's going to have a garage door with an entry door on the same plane. Again, unanimously approved. The one on the right is directly across the street from my lot. And it's a historic structure. It was non-contributing. I'm not exactly sure why, but you know, it sat there blighted for so many years. I was excited to see anybody be able to get a hold of it and do something with it. And there's been alterations. We added a garage door, we added some clear story windows, we changed the entry door from a single to a double. So even with a historic structure, there's examples of where this design has been appropriate. And it's right across the street from me. That one's right in my backyard. So can I answer any questions?
Well, first, I guess I want to start by saying I appreciate your presentation, but since you serve up here with all of us, I know you know this, we are not a precedent-setting board, so every property is separate.
I understand.
So I see where you're going, but I also think, you know, for example, 206 West First, it was already there. We have an opportunity to do something different. And with, well, both of those properties, the garage is flush with the facade, whereas your design is technically flush with the facade. However, you've got the overhanging, porch. Yes. I guess going back to the application itself, I am a little confused because some of the drawings show that it is just a porch on the front and others show that it's a garage. I guess, yeah, there, it shows that there's a garage, but in front of it, it shows that it's a porch. Am I just misreading the drawings, or just because those drawings look just a tad different than what? Correct. So it's just the overhanging porch, or is it an actual porch that you can sit on, I guess?
It's a porch roof.
Okay.
And actually, I had AI work on the rendering a little bit, which surprisingly, AI likes to really screw things up. It moved a bunch of stuff around, but it did create a better rendering.
Okay.
And that is exactly what I am proposing.
Okay.
Anybody else? Jen?
What are the dimensions of your garages?
I believe they're 16 by 24.
And I'm forgetting now, but you want them to be two-car garages, or are they one car?
They're actually one car.
One car. And on your site map that you're showing us there, where you showed us how you tried to maybe position things behind the house, and that's where you came up short, could we go to that visual again? So so in the pink there is the house,
Correct.
and then where is the yard start, sorry, where does the house end? I'm sorry, I can't see it very well.
The house ends here, and it actually runs 60 feet back.
So that would just be yard, right?
It would be in one of the sections that I skipped over in my presentation is, these are very modest one-bedroom houses, but I've designed them so that they're easily converted into 2 or 3 bedroom houses by adding a large living room on the main floor and 2 more bedrooms on the upper floor. And part of the reason that we did this is, in some of the drawings that we've looked at and some of the concepts that we've considered, we've looked at putting 6 apartments on that property. We've looked at a lot of different stuff. And it's more profitable if we do that. These are very, very modest homes, and we feel that we're proud of what's happened on that street, and we're proud to be part of it. We don't want to put something overscaled there. We want to do something that's more modest and try to maintain the green space.
So if you used part of that backyard for either parking or something like a carport, so you say you have 60 full feet?
Correct.
At the back. So if you, of course, if you switch the garages around to the back, you would have more living space in the front, which is now currently garage space, right? So then, and then you feel like you then restrict your green space at the back. If you, you say you have 60 feet, say you use 30 feet of it for car parking, carport, car something, that would then leave you another 30 feet of your rear part of your yard that looks out onto the Legacy Park. So I can see that you want to have a nice backyard there because you've got a gorgeous backyard view.
That was definitely a bonus.
Yeah.
It wasn't
But
even
it wouldn't be
considered.
workable to put the garage or put some kind of car something at the back? That's just absolutely not workable?
Well, what it would do is it wouldn't allow the house to be expanded later down the road unless I put it all the way at the very end of the block, or the very end of the lot. And if I put it down there, it's, there's some issues there as well. There's a giant old walnut tree that I have fought to protect for a long time, and you can't have a house under a walnut tree. So it isn't really workable, and as I mentioned, we've owned this property for 8 years, and you guys know what I do. I mean, I've drawn so many versions for this house, and every one of them, my wife said no, and the biggest reason is everything turned into a parking lot, which I don't think enhances the neighborhood. Now, I understand the concern about the garage doors, but as I'm standing on the sidewalk looking across the street, I'm looking at a garage door. If I look to my right, I'm looking at a garage door. If I turn around and look down the alley, I'm looking at a garage door. It's not something that's not appropriate for that particular area.
So you really do bring up one of the most challenging things about this board, which is the issue, of fairness, or if he's got a garage, why can't I have a garage? But if we follow that reasoning to its logical end, we will have a town full of houses with front-facing garage doors, and we'll all look up and we'll go, well, heck, how did that happen? I mean, we can't keep going down that road because it's happened once or it's happened twice or there's one over here to then say, well, now that's it, we're done here, we're just going to keep on doing this, is a route to no more historic district,
Well, I think
in my humble opinion.
I think preserving the older homes keeps that from happening. There's only so many infill lots.
I agree with that also.
And I think you all know that I'm very heavy into restoration and preservation. If you look at the duplex next to it, it's got wood windows, it's got wood doors. The windows that I installed in the basement are wood. If you go look at my Mulberry project I'm finishing now, almost anybody would have threw the windows away in it. They've all been restored. I put historic doors back in it because it actually had fiberglass doors and steel doors. When it comes to historic preservation, I do what I say what I believe needs to be done. But I'm also generous as far as understanding that some people feel like they don't need to go to that extent, and I completely understand it. When it comes to new construction, it is looked at differently according to the ordinance, the Secretary of State, the guidelines. There's only one guideline that this does not meet, that we have unanimously allowed to happen on every application since '22.
Anyone else?
I'm going to just repeat what Happy said, because the thing that bothers me is
Whoops, excuse me. I'll repeat what Happy said from a slightly different angle, is the front-facing garages, that you have a garage with kind of a house attached to it, and you have to get to the front door, you walk down. That's a very we used to live in an area that had townhomes in it, and the garages were right out front, and you walk down this little walkway, and they had a door on this side to that unit, door on that side to that unit. And this looks exactly like we're just outside of Chicago in the suburbs up there. It does not look like it's in the historic district. And I have to say, as enthusiastic as I were about your first two projects here 10 or 15 minutes ago, this is the exact opposite. I don't have anything for this. And so I walked around it, because I knew, what do I tell him? And so and you said, well, there's the walnut tree back there, and I didn't think of that or didn't notice it. But I kept thinking the alley goes down. If it has an alley access, the garage should go in the back. And it looks like you go down the hill. How about grading the thing so that the garage is the basement? You cut back, how deep is it? 16 feet or something like that?
60 feet, but in order to be
No,
able
I mean
to-
the garage, your garage is depth.
24.
24.
Yeah.
Oh,
So in order to have a garage in the back of the house,
yeah,
you have to turn into it at the end of the lot
Yep.
to be able to turn the car and get it straight
Right.
and to go in the garage. So everything in the backyard becomes concrete.
Uh-huh.
Would you mind pulling up the new home slide again? If you look at this house and this house, within the last few months,
Yes.
we've approved two additional exactly like it. And these have modern wood decks on them, very contemporary doors. I think they look great.
It does.
But if you look at the design that I've given you, it's more of a farmhouse look. It has a single window in the front. It has a.
I got a point on that. Hang on a second.
Ryan, those
Okay.
homes are appropriate for those neighborhoods. Sorry, Jed.
They are in the historic district.
The point on that, looking at the house on the upper left and the one in the middle on the top, those are out near the campground area, I imagine, right? Because that does not look like it's legally, it's in the historic district.
The
But
house
it's
in
not.
the middle is on East or West First Street.
West First.
Yep.
It does not look like it's around historic buildings. It's as simple as that. This looks like when I say suburban-looking house, the house there looks like it's out in the suburbs of the historic district. It does not look like it's down in it. And you could, if you worked the thing, you could get it so you mask the fact. I can see you need a garage in modern times, but there's a piece of the puzzle to go down the alley, and you either make a right turn and go right straight into the garage, or you have to swing around and go under the house. But whatever you do, I can't support a front-facing garage that looks like this, and I'm glad that you're essentially building the next jump up from affordable. Your presentation is very good here. I'm with you on that. I don't see this fitting in here. That's my point. We'll have coffee and discuss it, and you can slug me.
I'm not going to do that, but it is disappointing that directly across the street is identical architecture in a historic structure.
I got that, but putting the garage down there was a door there that was like an aluminum door.
There was no door there.
Oh, there it is. Oh, yeah, I see what you're saying. That house would never have been saved if you couldn't do that.
I don't disagree. I voted to approve it.
That's the end of my comment right now. I've made my point.
Any other comments from the board members? Do we have anyone from the audience that would like to speak onto this matter?
Good evening. My name is Felicia Crisafulli. I live at 811 West First Street in a house on First Street, a couple of blocks down from this proposed new construction that has a garage in the back, and you go down the street and you make a right angle turn to go into our garage
I see.
to do that. If you could go back to the previous slide, one of the one that had the four that were newly, yes, this one. My husband and I came to Madison probably 6 or 8 years before we actually bought property here. And we love just walking around the historic district down here. That's what a lot of people do, as you all know. And it doesn't take a trained architect to look at these houses and know that there's something special, and to go down a block and to point out the houses that are not a fit. And I heard somebody say, one of you previously say, the proposed house here doesn't fit. And I think that's the primary argument to be made here, that you could walk down the street in Madison and find the houses in a block that do not fit with the historic character of our downtown. The ones that are pointed out here, one of the features of Madison when it was built was the fact that a lot of these houses had carriage houses attached. And some of these houses that have garage, the two on the upper left, are in a carriage house style, which is the living space up right above the garage. That's not what is being proposed here. And I think the carriage houses that have been approved are appropriate for the downtown here, and they are a fit for our structures here. But the ones where the garages are an abutment to the house on the front are not fitting. One other point I would like to make, because I sat on this board for 6 years and know the difficulties of dealing with sometimes requests like this. And I was on the board when Mr. Rogers came before it originally to propose the demolition of the lot that is now vacant that he's proposing to build on. And I'm sure you remember that I ended up voting against that demolition. You remember? And one of the things he said to us that night, he promised the board that he would build a house exactly like the one that was being demolished, with the same character and the same characteristics on that vacant lot. And for these years, I've been waiting to see that house be built.
I don't think I said that. I said I'd build something.
No, you said you would build that exact house that was there. And the proposed structure does not meet that requirement. And I know you all have to trust what is being said by an owner that comes before you, but this one is just not the right fit for our historic district down here. And every time a house that does not fit the character of the district comes in, it destroys everybody else's property values, and eventually we'll lose our district. Thank you so much.
Thank you for coming.
Good evening, Board. My name's Tony Steinhardt. I'm in front of you tonight as a private citizen, not as a city employee. I recused myself once I understood this application was going to come before you as it be presented, as I should, and I did, to respect this process. My families are owners of the 3 adjacent properties, 221 West First Street, 206 West First Street, and 213 West Second Street. There are many opportunities to improve the infill at this site, which is one of the last prominent open sites in the historic district. and especially when you're considering it is in close proximity or within view of a National Historic Landmark and 2 historic sites, as well as on access with the main park along our riverfront. Our family home at 213 West 2nd Street has looked onto this property since our families owned it in 1890. And my relatives have cared for this neighborhood and its property over the years by respecting the historic significance of these few blocks. I've had the opportunity to buy neighboring parcels to 213 to protect and to appropriately improve the neighborhood with those historical improvements and additions. This design does some things very well. Massing seems to fit, material selections seem appropriate, however, front-facing garages do not. It does not fit within the character of the neighborhood, which is stated in the guidelines as one of the most important things to consider with infill design. Or the duplex that was there before, one of the oldest brick structures in town before it was demolished, with no curb cuts or garages. Plus, with the location in the community, the city will be losing 3 parking spaces on the street that just added more parking to help alleviate the congestion from the multiple festivals in that area each year. I had a third-party firm who works for Historic Madison, the National Park Service, and is known for award-winning infill, review the drawings, and would like to share with them what was stated in the letter, and I believe I provided that to Brenna for you. The comments are, the proposed setback appears to be appropriate, stepping between that of the adjacent buildings. The overall scale of the proposed building appears to comply with guidelines, stepping between the heights of the adjacent buildings. The exterior materials seem to be appropriate, but I would encourage them to use smooth siding, not textured. The overall character of the building, except for the front-facing garages, appears to comply with the guidelines. Typical note that front-facing garages are inappropriate in a historic district. However, your guidelines do allow those, 24.2, but they must or should set back 1/3 of the total depth of the dwelling. This design isn't of character and it's not compatible with the existing historic structures in the neighborhood. The design should be revised to move the garages to the side or rear of the building, Benjamin Ross preservationist ratio design. We certainly support infill and the development of this site, but it needs to respect the character found in the neighborhood. And I would also note too that 121 Central is a garage door off the alley, and the other garage door down the street was a garage long before the Rogers moved here and was built on top of, so that was an existing garage.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak? I have a letter that I need to read into the record. This is from Thomas Stark to Brenna. Brenna, I am not able to attend tonight's HDBR meeting due to a previous commitment. However, I'm hoping that you'll all be able to read my letter tonight regarding Ryan Rogers' application. As I look at that specific block where Mr. Rogers would like to build the 2 homes, there is no procedure for a house being built with the garage being built directly onto the front of homes. There are 2 homes, however. They are facing the street behind the garages. In addition, looking at the homes on the south side of that block where the proposed homes will be built, there are no garages directly facing the street. There is an alley on the east side of the proposed site that would be utilized to enter the garages from the south side. The proposed design would be more appropriate in a suburb, but not in our historic district and on that block. Thank you, Thomas Stark. Anyone else like to speak? Board members?
So I really appreciate the public comment. This is a difficult application because we all have tremendous respect for our colleague Ryan, and Mr. Rogers has made a very thorough presentation. The particular style of house that this would be is there's actually a name for it. It's called a snout house. when the garage protrudes substantially further than the facade and the front door, resembling an animal's snout. It's a distinctly suburban design typology that's generally not regarded as being very pedestrian friendly. I think that compared to some of the other examples of what was approved, the carriage houses that were shown were more flush to the front facade, whereas the massing and the eroding of the massing in the center here, I think, accentuates the way that the garages project out to the street. I am appreciative of the examples that were shared. I think that many of them were, while, as Mr. Anderson correctly noted, there is no precedent set by this board. I will note that a lot of the examples did seem to be on the far east side of town, which has a substantially different context. This is a really important site and an opportunity, not just for Mr. Rogers as the owner, but for the city of Madison. This is a critical pedestrian juncture with Bicentennial Park right there, with the Shrewsbury House, and it also, this lot also fronts Legacy Park. We're talking about green space in the rear. There is a park right behind it. So there's tremendous opportunity here. And I struggle, as many folks have, with the protruding garage massing in this particular manner. I also am just generally not a fan of faux architectural treatments. So the porch on the front, I mean, it's not going to be really a functional porch. It's made to look like one, but it's not. It's an entrance to a garage. I can't imagine, setting chairs out there and then having to move them every time you want to get in and out of your garage. I mean, I'm also not a fan of Juliet balconies or anything else like that that's just, fake architecture. So that's another issue that I have with, again, how this meets the street. That's a lot of bad news, I think, for Mr. Rogers. But some good news is I think that you can maybe get a little bit more scale out of this lot. I think that there's an opportunity here to go bigger than what you proposed. It's a very deep lot. I think that there might be, I appreciate the effort to step down from the neighboring duplex, but I think that this is an area of our city that's right within the urban core, that's highly desirable with lots of pedestrian activity, and I think that this is a good place for increased density and scale. One of the last opportunities, really, this close to the river, for increased density and scale. And I'm a fan of having as many people as possible live in downtown Madison and patronize our businesses and all those things. So while I'm not a fan of this design, because of the garages and how they meet the street and specifically how it handles that, I do want to provide the encouragement that I think that there's amazing opportunity here to maybe even do something bigger than this that might yield a greater return.
I'd like to suggest maybe a compromise. I mean, a lot of times that's what the board does. Listen to Ms. Chris Foley and your remarks about the porch. It did make me realize that perhaps that is a false architectural detail that could be eliminated. What if we eliminated the front porch and actually put carriage doors in that swung out? So then it looked like a carriage house.
I think the challenge is the overall massing with the front entrance doors still being recessed behind it. It would be perceivable as two arms reaching out with garages in front of the shared rear massing. I just think the overall massing concept is a little difficult with those arms reaching out and then meeting the pedestrian realm with garage doors.
Well, just so you know, that's about a $30,000 offer that I made to change them into carriage doors. I've done some research. They're not cheap.
Ryan, I'm not at all concerned about your step down. I think you can mass up to your duplex and build a house that'll make income for you.
Anybody else? Anybody from the public? Anybody else? I don't know that we really have a consensus here. Chris, what do you think? Go or no go with the garages?
I think I made it clear I'm a no-go on this design, but I also don't want to be the one to make the motion because I really like Mr. Rogers.
Same here, so I'll fall on the sword. So, yeah, sorry, Ryan. But, Mr. Chair, based on the previous discussion, I move that Historic District Board of Review deny a certificate of appropriateness for the project at 215 West First Street.
A second?
I'll second.
Can we have a vote, please?
Okay. Wait, just to clarify, when you say approve, this means you are approving the denial, okay?
Thank you, Brenna.
Bill Jewell,
I approve.
Happy Smith,
I approve.
Chris Cody,
Approve.
Ken McWilliams,
Approve.
Jared Anderson,
Approve.
Jed Skillman.
Approve.
How about another idea? Do you want to come back at us, next month?
I'll come up with
Something? You have nice lots there. They're in such a great location.
I'll come up with another design, but I do want to recognize that I am the first new infill house that's ever been denied. And across the street, I'm looking at exactly what I wanted to build, and I was denied. So it is what it is. I respect your opinions. Until a few months ago, I would have had the same concerns. But the more that I've seen and the more that I've dug into it, I found that I think the design was appropriate. So
Well,
I'd like to
I
know.
definitely have tremendous respect. I do think that the house across the street is a little bit different in terms of its overall massing and why that garage door was approved. I don't think it's totally apples to apples. But I respect very much the level of the number of examples that you brought and how persuasively you made your case. But unfortunately, if anything, it's made me more aghast and determined to deny garage doors lest we create a new context here in this town just by seeing how many have come through.
Well, I found 29 of them on First Street alone, First and,
So we need to do better at not letting that happen.
well,
I want to
historical.
mention that Felicia's comments about carriage houses, because I can think of a couple of really neat carriage houses, and that may be your answer then, in terms of,
That was
because,
a one-time offer with those carriage doors.
what'd you say? Oh, that was one-time offer?
Next time.
Anyways, that's a one-time suggestion. Yeah.
All right. Looks to me like we're going on with new or old business. Any new business?
Well, I have a comment, and the house that we looked at on, what was it, 1008 East Street, did anybody notice that that's right next to a house that we had here about a year and a half ago, where they had a deck, a gigantic Mondo stupid deck built out there without approval, and they had to take the deck down, and whatever, the guy took it down, and he took all our suggestions to put the spindles in, and it looks great. It is a fantastic little cottage out there. I'm sure he's going to make money on that one. That's my comment.
Okay. Any other new business? Could we have staff report, please?
Yes, so I would say it's a quick month, but everything is happening a week earlier than usual, so it could still very well speed up towards the end. But so far, we have had 3 staff reviews. The first one is 706, I'm sorry, that's not right. It's on Main Street. It's the Chop House for a temporary vestibule. This will only be up from Thanksgiving until the end of March, and this will be a reoccurring thing. We have one for Mark Prickett for a door replacement, and then one for Chad Fife here on Main Street for rear window replacement. And then for our annual review, we only had 3. All 3 of them were related to windows. The first 2 were completed. The last one at 816 West Main has not been done, and so that one has expired.
All right. Is there anyone that would like to speak before we close the meeting out? Anyone else? Do we hear a motion to adjourn?
I move that we adjourn the meeting.
Your second?
I second that.
All in favor? Aye. The next meeting will be January 26th, 2026.